Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. That being said, I want to start off by giving congratulations and a warm welcome to one of our new Muslim brothers whose name I didn't get permission to say, but in the meantime, I'm going to nickname him Asad. Those of you who've been Muslim for any length of time probably know what Asad means. I'm not saying with an ayn, but with an alif at the beginning. We'll add a wow in there before the dal later on, gentlemen. Y'all know what that means. So Al-Asad Al-Aswad, the Black Lion. I'll nickname him that for now. I want to tell you that first, Assalamu alaikum, and a warm welcome to you. You have joined a fraternity, so to speak. And although a lot of Muslims of other backgrounds don't reciprocate, and a lot of them do, doesn't matter. Your brothers now are those who do reciprocate, and black Muslims, of course, do generally reciprocate, because the irony of it is that you have now joined some of the most unified black people, period. Not the most uniform, but the most unified. You want to see black intermarriage, and you want to see it with a high chance of succeeding. It is nothing in London to find Jamaicans that have become Muslim married to Somalis, as an example. And those countries are very, 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 very far apart and staying together. So I'm in a situation in which I've finally gotten somewhat settled. I'm in a routine. So I'm back on contract. The only thing is they need to remove these 2 extra hours. They need to hurry up and do that, because they ain't paying extra. I'm in permanent housing. It's not that clean. It ain't no heat. So this black man is cold. And I was joking with some of my students about how I was cold, and they were like, but what's wrong with that? And I said, see, y'all aren't Arabs. That right there proves you all are not Arabs. Because people adapt to the environment in which they live. No matter how long you all are here, you never adapt to the heat. You all love the cold, even if it kills you. You love the cold more than the Swiss and the Germans do. Talking about some, it's not cold. Man, it was cold this morning. It was 50 degrees when I walked out. Fahrenheit, not Celsius, for those of you in other nations. So in any case, I was recording this partially to say to you all that, well, no, mostly to tell you all this. And this is for those of us in the manosphere. Those of you with whom I rock and with whom I don't. There can be no shaming and ridiculing of men that don't bit getches, because as we already know, most women simply aren't interested in most men. And we're going to have to learn to fuck the shuck up about that in terms of trying to shame other guys, because we don't allow, we rightfully in the manosphere don't allow men from outside the manosphere to try to shame us for that, because we know that women aren't really trying to be gotten, so to speak. I mean, they don't walk around making it easy. They don't even so much as tell you when they like you half the time. We generally see this. So I want to go ahead and tell you about that we're going to have to learn to remember that no, absolutely not. It is not okay when we sit up here and we start to behave as though we can then shame some other guys for that. We can't. It doesn't even make any sense. It's not okay to try to shame other men for this. And it's us in the manosphere that need to stop doing this. We need to cut this out yesterday. It's us in the manosphere that need to end this mess of sitting up here and telling somebody, well, I'm not going to listen to you because you a virgin, or you ain't the kind of guy that got chicks, or you. No, we need to cut that mess off and cut that out. Because in all honesty, when we sit up and say this, we become hypocrites, and there's no nice way to put that. I mean, we don't tolerate it when so-called gamed up dudes and, crap talking they ninjas come to us with that mess. We take issue with it, and we should. So what I'm going to say to you is we also need to cut that out, regardless of what we might think, regardless of how cool we might think we are, because, we bought gitches back in the day, or because we do now. we got to understand that that actually means something wrong with us. And I don't like to say it like this, but we have to be honest with ourselves. We're sitting up here talking about, rightfully so, how insane and how crazy the hyena broads are in the West. Red Supreme, educated lames ain't the ones really complaining per se, but they should be. I'm educated and I ain't no lame. I'm sitting up complaining about sisters not choosing other brothers that are educated because they assume that they're lame. That's something I'm doing. It's not something a lot of educated brothers are doing. A lot of educated brothers ain't lame. Just because you can rhyme when you talk doesn't mean, and I'm not saying this with hatred, but this does not mean that you all gamed up. Doesn't mean that. You move to the Southeast United States right now, and you, sir, are going to have a hell of a lot more money than most other brothers in order to compete, and you have to compensate for your complexion. I'm not telling you something's wrong with your complexion. I'm telling you that's how sisters see it. You're going to have to compensate because they ain't playing games. They're gaming you, but they ain't playing games. You are going to have to compensate even for sisters that like you when they see you, even for sisters that like light-skinned brothers. Because it's an embarrassment right now. Trust me, I know. You ain't darker than me and I'm not darker than you. You have to be twice as street as what you might be right now. You have to have some felonies and they have to involve some violence too. And that means you got to take penitentiary chances for women to want you. You got to be locked away from them. Either in a coffin or in a cell block. And we're right to complain about this, but we're not doing it enough. I'm the one that's doing that. Because, you know, if they ain't picking me, okay, fine. So what? They ain't picking me. They ain't picking y'all. What's that about? I don't understand that, and I'm not required to and shouldn't have to be nice about that because they have the right, they got the choice, but they're not doing a very good job of accepting the fact that it was their choice. That's something they've been messing up at. They just don't want to live up to their responsibility. They want to sit up here and look at you like there's something wrong with you when it ain't. There's something wrong with you because of what they got to deal with. Because of what they chose. Because of whom they chose. But we in the manosphere gonna have to cut this mess off. Man, you know what? You a miserable dude and you ain't... No. We don't do that here. Because if somebody got Western black women, what the hell is wrong with him that he had to appeal to them? Because we already know Western sisters want guys that have some things that are seriously wrong with them. Other races of women may or may not have these desires, but they definitely aren't choosing based on the worst they can choose. They're not going straight to the absolute worst and saying, oh, you sexy, get me pregnant. That ain't what they doing. That's exactly what Boom Shika, Bonquisha, and even more so Sophista Ratchet Sapphire is doing. Because Boom Shika and Bonquisha, they'll get to an older age where they're trying to find a guy that's educated. Then, if they can get one, they'll go back to the ones that they used to like on the side, or the ones they still like as a side dude. Because you know the side dude is just for screwing. He's the one that's not being insulted. They'll do that. But we also know that, you know what? We know that we know who's not going to get any sort of respect. It's the one that's paying but doesn't play. He gets the bad deal and we all know it. Whereas Sophista Ratchet Sapphire turns around at the end of the day and she just, because she's got money, she just keeps on spending her hard-earned money on a Pookie, on a Ray Ray, on a Junebug, on a stereotype. And we're supposed to sit up here and take on the fee for that. We're supposed to pay the fee for his shooting spree. Either way it goes, it's like that. Because Sophista Ratchet Sapphire, she will turn around, and if she can get a guy to pay the bill, she'll do it. But hell, she might turn around and pay the bill herself, get tired of him, go get another one, pay his bills. Get tired of him, same thing. Then she'll cycle through these dudes, and then she's even more used up and less valuable to men over time. And they're the ones that can afford the nice phones to record these clear videos and the nice laptops with a strong internet connection to upload videos of themselves looking to the camera, talking about how unbothered they are that we leaving. Looking like the Predator with fish gills on the side of her forehead. And I'm not the one that first stated that either. That woman, You are not alpha, and that's why we don't respect you. The one that Beautiful Lies, the one that El Guapo came out and was talking about, admitting that she was disrespectful, bragging about that. Someone in this comment section compared to the predator with fish scales on the side of her forehead, and I thought, oh my God, that is right. I was eating some fast food. Dawn there spit up the Pepsi out my nose. It was hilarious. But that's what's going on. That's one of the women that keeps doing that. She's looking at these high, so-called upperly mobile, high-value men. And they're bouncing, and she's like, we are not bothered. Yeah, you are, because you see who's going. You want to sit up and say they're not alpha because of the same qualities that allow them to move forward in life by not being stereotypical niggerillas. Comes down to what they've been saying. They want Tupac in the suit. And one sister recorded a video, and at the end, she said, you just mad because your backup plan is leaving. The one you wanted to keep in your back pocket and to whom you wanted to go back after you let the guys you really like run you through the mud. That's who she is. So it is not okay for us in the manosphere to resort to the same tactic as the ones outside the manosphere that are against the manosphere trying to tell us something like we don't know. It's not okay for us to resort to that. Man, you don't get no women. No. It's one thing to say, look, you haven't experienced what they're doing. It's one thing to say that, but even then, that's not something to put them down for. That's just a reason to tell some of them that they don't have any room to lecture us. You haven't experienced what they do to you, or you've experienced it and you don't care. That's different from sitting saying, well, see, you a virgin and you ain't getting no B's. And no. Because let's be honest, in order to actually screw a Western sister, you either tricking or something seriously wrong with you in terms of just major life. You need major life coaching. That's what it takes, because that's who the huck they are. She is not going to sexually reward responsible men. No one is responsible gets that kind of sexual reward from her, and because if they're not black and they're responsible, she may want them, but they don't see her as a sexual reward anyway, or marital reward, any other kind of reward. They don't want her for the most part, because they can see her hypocrisy. And see, that white dude that was talking about how he dated sisters, and the 2 times he been on dates with them, both times they got glares, and not so much aggression, but he got glares and stuff like that. And then that sister came out and said, no, I was on one of them dates with him. I am telling you that that's not what happened. And I'm going to tell y'all straight. That was embarrassing to that dude, but I'm also going to tell y'all something else. That woman, I'm surprised because she was willing to stand up here and say she was on a date with this dude. Do you know what the problem with that is, gentlemen? Most of you, if you brothers had been on dates with her, most of you, if you've been on dates, she would have been embarrassed to say she'd ever been on a date with you. And you don't have to have something wrong with you for her to feel that way. She could feel that way because of what's not wrong with you. And I'm not even saying this to prejudge the woman. I don't know her. But statistically speaking, that's what's the likely outcome. Because that's who they are. It's what they want. It's what gets them wet. It's the dysfunction. And you have to have that as a black man to get a black Western woman. Something got to be wrong. And Crimson Q done set up and told us that they know what they're doing. Edward Allen Anderson done told us they know what they're doing. And BGS done told us they know what they're doing. Meanwhile, you can be a square and so-called lame non-black man, and you can get them if you want them. And I'm looking around like, why the hell would... Anyway, we can't say these things to other men to belittle them. The lack of experience, the lack of being chosen by Western black women is probably a sign of something good. Now, of course, if you don't have social skills, you strike out. That's true. But that's not because of anything other. I mean, that's normal, I would say. But for sisters, it's just about being difficult, which we know and understand. It still goes back to this. If you ain't black, you ain't got to have the same social skills that a brother's got to have. So not appealing to them cannot be a detriment. It can't be something for which somebody can drag you. And I'm saying this as a man who's been selected and unselected, pretty much based on the violence that I'd shown towards other black men. I done already told y'all about that. The time I was selected, was about the last year and a half out of my childhood. And the time I was most selected was about the last half year out of my childhood. Because it was the third and last fist fight I had, and 12 dudes came in trying to scrap with me, and I came out unscratched. I came out unscarred and unscratched. Hair was messed up. Whoop-de-doo. And granted, I had friends that covered my sides and my back, so I was able to face off everybody that came because they had to come to the front, and they were ready to do it. Because I talked about it with my friends before, said I'm about to go and hit this nigga. I'm not going to jump none of his friends that don't jump in, but when they do, all I want y'all to do is cover my sides and my back so nobody can sneak me. And yeah, he's going to say I snuck him, even though I'm going to be looking at him when I hit this nigga. Walked up to him, his friends too. They were sitting down, put my hand on his shoulder. I said to the rest of them, sorry to interrupt y'all. And I looked down at him, I said, hey man, 6 million ways to die, choose one. Struck this nigga in his nose. He was sitting, but he was looking at me, and he knew he deserved an ass whooping. He wasn't expecting me to have the nuts to do it. That's what it was. So he laid on talk about I snuck him. I was looking him in the face. He had just cussed me out a few hours before and let a nigga whose ass I'd whooped in his driveway punk him a few months before that. The second guy I had to fist fight with, they didn't know each other. So just by happenstance, when they bumped into each other at a dance and I was on stage and I could see it, I know both these cats. And both of them ain't crap. Coward ass niggas. So when I hit this dude, his boys did jump in. My partners jumped in, covered my sides and my rear, and his boys, being cowards, thinking yellow niggas is easy to beat, all had to come to the front because they wasn't trying to engage with my friends. And so they came to the front and I was able to throw one into the other. It was like in that movie 300. And after that, that was when sisters at my school start talking. Oh, black mind, bout it. And then we weren't saying bout it back then, but what was it they were saying? I'm trying to, yeah, black mind will boot up on you. And I'm just like, now? And I'm about to get out of town? That's what the hell you B-words wanted all this time? That's what it was, huh? Okay, all right. So after the second fight, I was all right to sneak around with, and after the third fight, I'm okay to be seen out in public with. That's what the hell happened. You think they got better since then? That was over 20 years ago. We ain't far from that happening 30 years ago. You think they're better since they were in? I'm talking us in the manosphere, with no hatred. I'm saying in the manosphere, some of us are resorting to doing that. You don't get no B. No. You can say someone's lying about the B words they get. The thing to say is, wait. So you're saying you bit getches, right? Yes. Black women, black American women. Yeah, of course, man. Then what the hell's wrong with you? That right there. What they're bragging about is the opposite of a flex. And we're missing that. Man, knock them figures bragging about that stuff. And they try to belittle any of us because they think we can't. But the fact is, we got to be honest with ourselves. The fact that we can get, though any of us who could get like our choice of Western sisters, the fact that we could do so means something's wrong with us, because Western sisters collectively, not every individual, but collectively don't want productive, non-stereotypical black men. And I keep telling you that. If a VPS, vaginal positioning system, as Don Calypso calls it, shout out to him, is off, then you can't brag about being attracted to them. It's just like if you can go up to a machine, a vending machine, and it is broken. You cannot put the right amount of change in and make the selection and get your stuff out. You can't follow the instruction manual or the written instructions on it. You cannot do that and get the snack that you selected and for what you paid. You cannot do that. You have to take certain keys and you got to jiggle it a certain way and something like that. It's okay that you know that that's what you got to do, but the fact that you're willing to pass up vending machines that function properly according to the instructions written to try to game this machine out means something in you is broken. We in the manosphere suffering from that kind of brainwashing. Man, buck them fitches. They are not someone about whom to brag about being able to attract. And you ask me why I'm saying this right now. Here's why. I'm now sitting in classrooms teaching men and women alike. And I'm seeing something in the eyes of these women that I don't normally see in the States. I've seen it before, but it ain't common. And I don't know how to tell this to my wife. I'm not doing nothing with them. They're my students. They're far younger than I am. I'm actually a MILF lover. Just like 1 or 2 wrinkles around the corners of the eye, that's fine for me. I was married to a MILF, blew her back the Ucked out. She might still be walking differently to this day. She probably got a bruised cervix all the way up till now. And I never asked my current wife how old she is. Didn't ask. But the point I'm making is I actually am one. Got these ladies in their 20s and 30s eyeballing me while I'm teaching. And to be honest, they're engaging in the lesson. They're engaging more than the men are. They be smiling when I'm talking and stuff and teaching. I'm looking at them and at the guys because I'm teaching everybody. And they're nice, so I'm nice to them. But I'm seeing something in their eyes and in their faces. They're not hiding it very well. And I'm also seeing this in the black Saudi women. I'm seeing them look at me in a way that I would want a lady to look at you. And you can get that from black women or from non-black women outside the West. You don't get this from sisters at times unless something's wrong. I have seen sisters look the same way in the West at dysfunctional niggas. At Jungle Bunny, tree swinging, spear chucking, Tarzan chasing stereotypes. Because of these things that they were. I didn't even know what that look meant all the time when I was younger. Now I'm seeing it. Now, I'm a man. I got my boundaries and I respect others' boundaries, but I ain't nobody's stereotype. No tattoos, no felonies, none of that stuff. And they eyeballing me like this. I'm finding out some of them are married and got kids. They're not bothering me. They're not harassing me. It's okay. It's one thing to look at me when I'm teaching. And then look at the paper you're writing, and then look at the board. That's one thing. And a lot of them are doing that. But there are others that they stare when I'm talking. And sometimes just to test it out, yesterday and today, I told 1 or 2 boring jokes or boring stories just to test them out. And the guys, they kind of raised their eyebrows and nodded as if to say, yeah, that was kind of funny. And the ladies like, hee, 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 hee. It wasn't that damn funny. I said, okay, this is not easy for the women. I'll put it like that. You can have this, gentlemen. This is possible for you too. And I'm seeing a black Saudi woman like this as well. They are feminine. They hang out with each other. But they act like women. They talk like women. Their voices are even different. If you came here and you were attractive to some of them, and you're Muslim, of course, I could tip my hat to you and say, yeah, man, you're doing something right. Because while they may want a man that's got certain social skills, they ain't looking for thuggo. And some of them thought that I might have been an ex-rapper. You know, that Saudis in general, black and white, tend to think that. Some of them think I might have ran the streets when I was younger, but I don't know why they really think so. I don't give off that impression, but you get the idea. So gentlemen, because I am now seeing up close more black women that are not Western, being feminine, along with their non-black sistren being feminine and kind of showing interest when they don't mean to. I want this for you, and you cannot qualify for this if you keep on with that chip in your head that tells you that it's some sort of validation for you that Western sisters like you. No, what the fuck is wrong with you if they do the way they are? It's like a lion sprucing his mane and feeling better because a hyena bitch likes him, but he got lionesses that like him. I'm fit to guck out my face with that sure bet. Manosphere and non. But especially those of us in the manosphere, we got to outgrow that. We need to be the first ones. It ain't no flex if a Western sister, if most Western sisters like you. I don't mean everyone, but you get the idea. The collective, no. Buck that fitch. Buck them fitches. Thanks for listening. Black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it, black patriarchy till extinction of judgment day. Thanks for flying with me again on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jet black with me till the wings and the wheels fall off this father mucker. Justice for